Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review, and I'm going to be babbling about Halestorm today. That's right, not a band that I've talked about very much on this channel at all. And when I saw this was coming out, I was like, well, I have to admit, I wasn't super excited. The last couple albums I got from them didn't blow me away or anything, and I really like this band. But the last couple albums didn't do much for me. When this band first hit the scene, I fell in love with them from the number one, from the get-go. I thought there was a great new feel, a great new sound. They had couple cover EPs, I think, and I really liked what they did with those songs. They were on, was that Bar Rescue? I think that was the show where they did an episode on that, or they appeared on one of those episodes. I thought that was pretty cool. I just remember watching them on there and thinking, man, what a great live band that they are. And but for whatever reason, I don't know, the production of the last, I don't know, one or two, I don't remember exactly, have just been like sterile, and it just killed the feel of the band for me. But as anybody knows who listens to my channel, I don't really review albums I don't like, because I don't like bashing bands. So obviously it's clear that I liked this album, and I really like this album actually, so I was very pleased to put this on. And I tell you what, from the second song in, I realized this was not going to be like the last couple albums. This was going to be a different turn. I can't even remember the name of the last two. I didn't give them a whole lot of attention. This one's called Everest, in case I haven't mentioned that yet. Got a completely different approach from what I'm used to hearing from these guys. It felt more organic and just raw, but still super tight. This, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, this is all the same guys, and gal, of course, that have been in the band from the start. I don't think they've changed any members. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't think I am. Of course, you got Lizzie and RJ, brother and sister, in this, and started the band. It's just kind of cool that I wish I had a sibling I could have been in a band with, but I have two sisters who are not interested in doing music at all, so it did not happen for me. But yeah, I thought that would have been a pretty cool thing. But right from the get-go of this one, it starts in with the song Fallen Star, way heavier than the last couple things I remember hearing. It's just a cool rock song with just a different style riff that I haven't really heard from these guys, and it was a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it, except kind of more cinematic sounding, I guess. And that feel kind of continues on, especially with the second song in here, which is Everest, the title track. And kind of looking into this, they did switch producers, so that might have something to do with this, whose name is Dave Cobb, who I'm not familiar with, but I guess is more known for doing the country artists. And I just know from past, and every time I would hear bands and they're going to switch up producers and go with something that was really out of their genre, Megadeth comes to mind. I know there's a couple other bands. I think maybe Opeth changed and went with some different ones. I just know that there's been a lot of bands that do that. And Ozzy did it this last couple. Sometimes it really works, sometimes it doesn't work at all. So when I first saw that they were really going in that direction, I was like, well, this could be interesting. It could go one of two ways. Fortunately, it went the better way. One thing I noticed a lot is the drum sound. I'm just going from memory here, but I feel like the last couple things they did fell more in that super polished and overproduced feeling that some of the bands in the genre fall into. I don't want to name any names, but they use a lot of triggers and samples, and it just loses, the whole feel for me. Everything's quantized, and just fixed. All the, every beat of every drum is just shifted and fixed to fit perfectly in time. For me, that just kills the music. And I can hear a lot of times when they do it. If they did it on this album, wasn't noticing it, maybe they fixed something here or there, but it sounded like a drummer playing drums. They sounded like real drums. If they weren't, well then kudos to the producer for fooling the heck out of me, because it really does, and that changes the whole feel of the whole band and the whole album for me. And this band is so tight, they've been playing with each other for so long. And like I said, I don't think they've changed members. They can only be like a really solid running unit, and you just hear that. And the other thing I noticed is, well, Lizzie's always been a phenomenal singer, but she's all over the place with the emotions in the song, a lot more feel. And of course, if you listen to the lyrics of these songs, they're a lot more gut-wrenching than, and she's had some gut-wrenching lyrics and songs in the past, but there really are on this one. I'd have to go back and listen a little bit closer to some of the lyrics, but just the feeling of the songs was just coming through loud and strong, especially on the title track. The other one here, kind of, I think it was the fourth song in, yeah, Like a Woman Can. That one, holy moly, starts out with a cool little piano thing, and I don't even know how to, her singing carries the song. I'm not really into like slower ballads, and a lot of these songs had a slower feel to them for the first like few tracks, aside from the opener, but the next like tracks 2, 3, and 4 were all kind of like not upbeat, not fast. They were all kind of slow, and this one was the slowest of the bunch, but didn't care. She really carried the song and really sang her butt off on this one. And if I'm not mistaken, if I remember right, there was one song, I think it was, gosh darn it, Rain Your Blood on Me. Was that the one that they released already? I don't know. I'd heard one already. I think that was the one, or no, it was Darkness Always Wins. I'm mistaken. That's the only little nitpicky thing I will say is somewhere in that vocal melody is very familiar, and it just reminded me of something else, and I can't put my finger on what it was. It just reminded me of something else, and if anybody else knows what I'm talking about or knows what song I'm referring to, that's the only little thing. It just sounded a little bit too familiar, but that song actually was really good. It just, I can understand why they released that as a single. That was the only one I'd actually heard prior to this album, so, but that was enough to make me know that it was going to be a little bit different than anything that they've done just the more recent years. And then from that point on, it kind of gets a little bit heavier from that point on, which I was very thankful for. I'm not going to go through every single song here. Like songs like Watch Out really kicked. Really good. What was the other one? Gather the Lambs. Super huge chorus in that one. Just to really, just picture that one being played in arenas, which I think they're out doing now. And I did watch them play the Ozzy, Back to the Beginning thing. There was a song they did there, and I can't remember the title of it, and it's on here, and I'm trying to blank, but I remember hearing that one thinking, no, I don't know what song that is, and she had a little trouble with that one. However, on here, Kicked Butt, it made a little bit more sense here, and it kind of rocked a little bit harder, so it wasn't this one, Gather the Lambs. I'm trying to think which one it was now, but got us suffering from a case of the olds. I believe it was Shiver. I'm thinking that's what it was now, but anyway, stuff like that sounded a little more like it was meant for bigger venues, more so than maybe some of their earlier songs on their earlier albums. Like these songs sound like a few of them, like I was just saying, Gather the Lambs, Killing, which is Killing, definitely written for big stadiums and arenas to be sung along with, and just stuff like that. I really think that they were focusing more on bigger arenas and playing live, which is fine. The band's growing, they're huge now, and can't blame them for wanting to look ahead to the future and write songs for the venues that they're going to be playing, so that made perfect sense. And then towards the end, it slows down just a little bit. The end with How It Will You Remember Me, but not much. It's still a very powerful song, kind of like her questioning what her legacy will be. That's kind of what I got out of it, but still awesome way to end an album. I think the flow of the album, it's like I said, it started a little slow, but once it picked up some steam, it kept going, and then it ended on a really high note. So for me, that's this was definitely worth it. I only listened to it one time through so far, so if I'm kind of like forgetting exactly what it is, but that's what this review is called, first listen review. In case you nobody's ever picked up on that, it's the first listen and then a review. That's why it's called that. So if anybody else has heard anything on here, as always, we got any cool Halestorm or Lizzie, you know, what'd you think of her singing with, you know, Skid Row? If you want to mention that, if you think she should have kept doing that or continued with this band or whatever, if you want to talk about that, feel free. But as always, I ask to like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because if they got this in them at this stage of the game and they're still writing killer stuff like this and making great albums, I definitely can't wait for the next one. So until then, we'll see you.